Hold on to your seats, folks, as we break the shocking news. Sergio Perez faces the boot after the Mexico Grand Prix. The Qatar Grand Prix was wild, with Max Verstappen claiming the driver's championship. But for Red Bull, the joy quickly turned into concern. Let's dive into the video to know. The Qatar Grand Prix was a spectacle with intense action, thanks to the limit on tire duration, setting the stage for a potential F1 change next season. Lando, Norris, and George Russell showcased exceptional race pace. Norris exclaimed his increased speed during the race, emphasizing the driver's relentless push. Moreover, Russell's outstanding performance, recovering from early setbacks, earned him praise. Russell's skillful comeback, despite a collision with teammate Lewis Hamilton, left a lasting impression, and he finished fourth, highlighting the Mercedes' remarkable race pace. Teammates in turmoil. Teammates across the grid faced challenging weekends, with Lance Stroll's turmoil, from tossing his steering wheel to 0 points for the 5th consecutive race. Sergio Perez's struggles were pronounced, starting with a track limits violation during qualifying. His crash in the sprint race virtually sealed Max Verstappen's driver's championship. Perez's difficult weekend continued with multiple track limit violations and penalties during the Qatar GP, leaving him far behind Max Verstappen in the driver's championship. Sergio Perez's difficult weekend, marked by track limits violations and penalties, questions his suitability for Red Bull. Team boss Christian Horner expressed disappointment, calling it a shocker of a race. Perez's inability to capitalize on Lewis Hamilton's retirement raises concerns about securing Red Bull's second place in the Constructors' Championship. Costly seconds for Perez. Sergio Perez's repeated excursions beyond track limits during the Qatar Grand Prix may have only gained him fractions of a second per lap. Still, the penalties amassed for these incidents were significant. The 15 seconds of penalties cost Perez crucial track positions. The lengthy pit stops to serve penalties departed from Red Bull's usual strategy, impacting Perez's finishing position. Red Bull's team boss, Christian Horner, acknowledged the impact, stating, "Without the penalties, Checo would have finished 7th at least." These penalties, potentially costing valuable points, raise concerns about Perez's standing in the Drivers' Championship. Horner's support and acknowledging the issue. Christian Horner has generally supported Perez, distinguishing himself from others in the Red Bull team. While acknowledging Perez's struggles, Horner pinpointed a crucial factor. He emphasized that the challenge might be more psychological than physical for Perez, despite the driver working with a psychological coach. Addressing the broader issue of driver pairings, especially considering Perez's contract for 2024, Horner expressed the team's desire for Perez to rediscover his top form. The concern lies in avoiding a significant performance gap within the team, especially with the expectation of a tighter grid in the upcoming season. McLaren's threat and Red Bull's challenge. As Red Bull has dominated driver and constructor competitions this season, the gap between them and other teams has been shrinking. The Qatar Grand Prix highlighted the narrowing competition, particularly with McLaren. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris demonstrated McLaren's capability to challenge Red Bull's qualifying and race pace. Despite Red Bull's consistent victories this season, McLaren's MCL60 showcased competitiveness. The challenging race in Qatar, where Max Verstappen had to hasten his pace, signaled that Red Bull faces a renewed challenge. The potential threat from McLaren adds complexity to Red Bull's strategic considerations for the upcoming season. But Red Bull's concerns extend beyond just McLaren. While McLaren demonstrated their competitiveness, it wasn't the sole threat to Red Bull. Notably, Mercedes displayed impressive pace as well. The Qatar Grand Prix raised alarms, with McLaren particularly wary of George Russell's performance on soft tires during the closing laps. Although Russell couldn't significantly close the gap to Lando Norris, the situation might have been different if Lewis Hamilton hadn't made a critical move at the race's beginning. The Mercedes team's potential to challenge Max Verstappen was evident. Both McLaren and Mercedes are showing positive developments, suggesting a future challenge for Red Bull in both the driver and constructor championships. Influence of circumstances on race. Also, the race circumstances played a role in the final results. The imposed maximum tire usage regulations allowed every driver to push harder between pit stops. Although Red Bull could utilize tire-friendly long stints, Max Verstappen's lead over competitors might have been more significant under different conditions. Nonetheless, the Qatar Grand Prix marked the first time that Red Bull faced a genuine threat this year. This challenge is exacerbated by the absence of a consistent high-point scorer in Perez. The situation could lead to fierce competition for both championships in the upcoming season. The race emphasized that if Sergio Perez continues to underperform and fails to secure podium finishes, it could jeopardize Red Bull's chances in the Constructors' Championship. While Red Bull may aim to capitalize on Perez's commercial advantages in the upcoming races, it wouldn't be surprising if his prospects for a race seat in 2024 are uncertain. The team may consider alternative options if they wish to maintain their competitiveness. Perez's race in Qatar raises questions about his future role and impact on Red Bull's championship aspirations. What do you think of the entire situation surrounding Sergio Perez? Comment below and subscribe for more.